And today, 7th graders, we're going to talk about lesson 4.2, which is exponents and powers. Now, we learned a lot about exponents and powers last year. Basically, the exponent, which is a little number that's next to the big number, which is called the base. Okay? And the whole thing is called the power of a number. So it's the number, the base, multiplied by itself, however many times the exponent tells you. It's the base times itself. The base and the exponent together equal the power of the number. Okay? What's any number to the 0 power? 0. No. Remember that? Any number to the 0 power. So if we had 5 to the 0 power, what does that equal? No, because 5 to the first power equals 5. Not 0, it's actually 1. Any number to the 0 power is just 1. The answer is 1. No matter what the number is, no matter what the base is, it's 1. Okay? Now today we're going to spend more time talking about evaluating powers of numbers. Evaluate means to find the answer, means to find the number answer. So you'll be given expressions like this. Negative x to the 3rd power. So if x equals 5, you substitute 5 in the place of the expression for x. So you just replace the x with 5 and parentheses. Always put parentheses around it so that it is negative 5 to the 3rd power. Okay? Now, I want you to look at something here. So, eyes up. This negative sign is outside of the parentheses. Okay? This negative sign is outside the parentheses. And when the negative sign is outside the parentheses, the power only goes to the 5, which is the base. Okay? So, that means negative x to the 3rd power, like this, equals 5 times 5 times 5, and then the negative of that. So it means that the negative sign, or we have to cube the number first, multiply it by itself 3 times, and then give it the negative sign. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. And since it has a negative sign outside the parentheses, we make it negative. Okay? Now, sometimes the negative sign is in parentheses with the variable, and the exponent is on the outside. Okay? So, look at this example. Let's do some other examples here. So, let's look at this example. This is negative x to the 2nd power. Yeah?
I have a question on the last one. So, if the negative sign is outside the parentheses, what if the variable equals another negative number?
Oh, we'll go through that as well.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of that as well. Let me show you this example. Okay? So here it looks different because the exponent is outside of the parentheses, and the negative sign is inside the parentheses with the number. It's kind of like pushing them together. Okay? They're not separated by anything. You really got to pay attention to this, because this is just it looks like the same thing, but it's not. There's a minor detail difference here. Okay? So, if x equals 5 again, now what this means is x equals 5. Now what this means is negative x times negative x. Okay? This entire thing is the base of the exponent. And when you replace the x with 5, it is negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. Before, the negative sign just went into the answer. Now, the negative sign is also being squared because it's in the parentheses with the number. Okay? So that's something you gotta watch out for when you're doing this.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so on number 5 on the backside it says negative 1 to the 6th power, but wouldn't that be negative 1?
Negative 1 to the 6th power.
Yeah, wouldn't that be negative 1?
How is it written? Does it have the negative sign in the parentheses or out of the parentheses?
It says b, and then the exponent is above it, and then b equals negative 1.
All right, good. So this is b to the 6th power.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
b equals 1.
And it says that b equals negative 1.
And then it being the
All right.
answer b.
Now, so when you substitute, you always put parentheses around it, like this. This would be like negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Okay? Let's see. Oh, one more. Times negative 1. Now, you don't have to write this. I'm just showing this to you in expanded form. Okay? Notice that there's an even number power. And so every time you multiply two negatives, it's going to equal a positive, right?
Yeah.
This would be positive 1, this would be positive 1, and this would be positive 1. Okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind, that an even number exponent, even if it's negative, is going to give you a positive answer as long as the negative sign is in the parentheses with the exponent. So when we write this, b to the negative, or to the positive 6th power, it looks like this. This is b inside the parentheses with the negative sign. You see that? B to the 6th power, b to the 6th power. When you put it in parentheses, the negative sign goes in the parentheses, and then there's an even number which just equals positive 1.
So it's negative 1 then?
So then the answer is positive 1.
Oh,
Positive 1. Because each negative, negative times a negative is positive, negative times a negative is positive, and negative times a negative is positive. Okay? Now, here's an example, though, of where the answer would stay negative. Okay? Look at this one. Let's say that instead of b to the 6th power, it was negative b to the 6th power. And b equals negative 1. Oh, I'm sorry, b equals 1. Okay? So now, why it's important to put these parentheses in, because you would put it like this. Negative b to the 6th power. Okay? So this is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And then the negative sign, because it's not in the parentheses, it's still negative. Okay? Let's do a few of these together. See if you can identify the pattern. So, on the reteaching side, So the negative sign is in the parentheses with a, okay? That means that since a is 10, that goes here. And what that means is negative 10 times negative 10. The negative sign is with the 10, and the whole thing is being squared. That's positive 100. Okay?
Number 2.
Number 1.
Oh, okay.
Positive 100. Negative 10 times negative 10. Because the negative sign is in the parentheses with a. And the whole thing is being squared. This whole thing is being squared. But number 2 is different, because there are no parentheses to keep that negative sign with the a. So this is just the a squared and then negative. So this is 10 here, but that means negative 10 times 10, which is negative 100. See? Only the a squared, only the a is being squared, not the negative sign. Okay? This one is a squared, but a is negative. So this is negative 10. Hey, copy these down, guys. Why wouldn't you copy down the answers? This is something you learn, okay? So what this means is negative 10 times negative 10, which is positive 100 again. No, this one is negative. Number 2 is negative 100. No. Number 5 is different numbers. This one is just the a being squared again, but now a is negative. So the negative sign is on the outside, and then a goes on the inside, and a is negative 10. So it's negative 10 times negative 10, which is positive 100, but you still have this negative sign. So this is also negative 100. Well, it is on this particular worksheet, but that's not the way it is in life. Okay. Now, the m is being squared, so you have to square the m. 5 times 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Put the 5 there. Then on this one, you do 5 times 5, which is negative 3 times 25, which is negative 75. Now this one, here's the 2. Just the n is being squared, and n is 3. And then it's plus negative 4. So 2 times 3 squared plus negative 4. 2 times 3 squared, because n is 3, plus negative 4. Which is 2 times 9, 18, plus negative 4.
Yes, I got that. Yes, I know. 3 times 3 is
Which
9.
is 14.
Wait, Mr. Mouse, on the quiz, if you put 9 in, on the blank instead of 3 times 3, would it still be right? Because I got the rest right. I just put instead of
Yeah, when you do this on a quiz, yeah, you'll have it right. When you do this on a quiz, you'll be working them down like we did with the order of operations problems. Okay? So yeah, you'll just write the answer underneath the problem. Yep. Number 7. 5 times 2 times h minus 4. And look, this whole thing is being squared. So we multiply the 2 times h when h is 4. And then evaluate that first. Evaluate that expression. 2 times 4 plus negative 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus negative 4 is 4. And now the 4 is being squared. 5 times 4 times 4. Not the 5 is being squared, but only the 4. So this is 5 times 16.
Which would be 80.
64 and 80. Yep, good.
Yeah, what goes on the blank above it?
Oh, oh, 8. Because they're doing the 4 times 2.
Oh.
The answer to 4 times 2 plus negative 4. And then the last one.
Oh.
What is being squared on this one?
X and Y.
Is it the x and y?
Yeah.
Yes. No, X times Y.
Yeah, and
No. What is the exponent next to?
Y.
then
Just the y. And the x and y are not in parentheses. So the exponent only goes to the y. Does everybody see that? Nod your head if you see that. The square, the only thing that's being squared is the y, not the x. Okay? When x is 7 and y is 2. So replace those numbers. If this is x and this is y, then it's 7 times 2 squared. But then over here, the 7 is not being squared, so that stays as 7.
And then stay that.
And this becomes 2 times 2, which is 4.
And then
So it's 7 times 4, which is 28.
okay now. Okay.
Okay? Yeah. Other side?
I'm stuck on number 12.
Well, I'm going to go through this side first, a few of these on this side, okay? Oh, good, good. I'm not that far yet. I will later. I'll get there.
Stuck on number 12.
I'll get there. Let's do the odds going down this column right here, okay? So, m to the 4th power.
625.
That's 5 to the 4th power, 625. The negative sign outside, and so when you write this, you write it as 2 times 7. 2 times 7.
7 squared.
And that is squared, which is 14 squared.
Which would be
125.
So it's negative,
196.
and then 14 squared, which is what?
196.
720.
196.
What number 6? 700.
And it's negative. I'm trusting you that 196 is the right number.
It is.
It
I
is.
did it on my calculator.
Good. Questions on those? We already did number 5 together.
Wait, I have a question. You did?
Yeah,
That's
on
fine.
in the notes.
It's the one I had a question.
Daria,
If you don't write the little equation thing, so did you mark it wrong?
if you don't do the what?
The equation's like 5 to the 4th power, and then equals.
On the quiz, yeah, you're gonna have to show a substitution,
Quiz.
because you're showing me that you know how to substitute it. Because when you're substituting in a calculator, I can't read that. I don't know what that, I can't grade that. Okay? So you have to write it out, and then you can put it in your calculator correctly. Okay? Let's skip down to number 11. K times K times K times K times K is K to the 5th power, right?
And then number 8 is the other thing.
How would you write 13 with exponents?
Yeah,
Would it be G times H to the 5th power?
I have no.
Wait, no, H times G.
H times G to the 5th power?
What? No.
Okay, that makes
The
sense.
G is
Yep.
the one that,
Now, since it's written out with G first, you would write it as G to the 4th power times H. Okay? You might want to copy these down, guys.
I just, I don't know. What did you look at?
How about 15? How can you put that together?
Oh.
Can we switch any of these around? Yeah,
Yes.
so we could multiply these together.
Which would be negative 16.
That would be negative 16. And then let's put the variables in alphabetical order.
So M and then
M to the
third,
3rd power,
and then N to the second.
N to the 2nd power. Very good. Simplify each expression. What's the difference between these two? Number 17. What's the difference between these two? Abby? Very good. One has the negative sign in the parentheses, the other one has it outside the parentheses. So this is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which still happens to be negative 8. And this is negative 2 times 2 times 2. In this case, because that's an odd number, they're both negative, aren't they? They're both negative 8.
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
All right? But if it was an even number, one of them would be positive, the other one would be negative. Which one would be positive if this was negative 2 squared?
The negative 2 squared, no parentheses.
This one would be positive, because it'd be negative 2 times negative 2.
Negative.
This one would stay negative because the 2 is the only one that is being squared, not the negative. Okay? All right, finish up this worksheet then. 19 through 27. No, just 19 through 27 odds. This column, yep.
Really? I just.
Let's see, holy crap. On the entire
Scared of
worksheet.
my shoe.
Wait, what do we have?
Just
Nate's
those
scared of my
19
shoe.
to 20, I just did the odds. 19 to 27 odds.
Nate's scared of my shoe.